Mudryk is back. The wait is finally over for Chelsea fans. 20 months. That is how long Chelsea fans have waited to see Mykhailo Mudryk in a blue shirt again. 20 months of silence, 20 months of questions, and 20 months of wondering if we would ever see that electric pace tearing down the wing at Stamford Bridge again. Today, all of that waiting is over. Mudryk is free, Mudryk is clear, and Mudryk is coming back to Xabi Alonso's squad with immediate effect. If you are a Chelsea fan, you already know how painful this story has been. A young winger arrives with huge hype, a huge price tag, and huge dreams. Then, out of nowhere, a doping test turns his whole career upside down. Today we are going to walk through exactly what happened, why the ban has been lifted, what Chelsea have said, what Mudryk himself has said, and what this all means for Xabi Alonso's plans this season. Grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let us go through this together, step by step. Who is Mykhailo Mudryk, and why does this matter so much? Let us take a quick step back for anyone who needs a refresher. Mudryk joined Chelsea from Shakhtar Donetsk in January 2023. The transfer fee was huge, around £62 million, and Chelsea fans were promised a player with electric speed, exciting dribbling, and real end product. He signed a long contract, 7.5 years, which shows how much the club believed in him. But things did not go the way anyone hoped. Mudryk struggled to find real consistency in the Premier League. There were flashes of brilliance, moments where you could see exactly why Chelsea paid so much for him, but there were also long stretches where he faded into the background. Then, in November 2024, he played what turned out to be his last match for a very long time, a Conference League game away at Heidenheim. A month later, in December 2024, everything changed. Mudryk was told that a routine doping test had come back positive. He was provisionally suspended straight away. Can you imagine how that must have felt? 1 month you are playing football for a huge club, and the next month your whole career is hanging by a thread because of a test result. The ban, the charge, and the long wait. The substance found in Mudryk's sample was called meldonium. This is a banned substance under anti-doping rules. When the news broke, Mudryk did not stay quiet. He came out and said this had come as a total shock to him, and that he had never knowingly used any banned substance or broken any rules. From that very first moment, he maintained that he was innocent, and he said he was working with his team to figure out exactly how this could have happened. Football fans love to debate these things, don't we? Some fans believed him right away, others were more doubtful. That is completely normal when a story like this breaks, because none of us actually know what happened behind the scenes. What we do know is that the Football Association formally charged him with an anti-doping rule violation a short time later, and this meant he was facing a possible 4-year ban. 4 years. Think about what that means for a professional footballer. 4 years is basically the peak of a career gone. For a player who was only in his mid-20s, a 4-year ban would have been close to a career-ending punishment. The case dragged on and on. Mudryk brought in expert help to fight his corner, and he had support from Chelsea as well, who worked with him throughout the process. Eventually, in April of this year, the 4-year ban was confirmed. It felt like the final nail in the story for a lot of fans. Mudryk had trained alone, away from the first team, working with his own private coaching staff, doing shooting drills and fitness work at a non-league ground just to stay sharp. Some fans caught glimpses of this on social media, little clips of him working hard in the shadows, refusing to let himself fall apart even while his career was in limbo. But Mudryk did not accept the 4-year ban as the final word. He appealed to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, known as CAS. This is the highest court in world sport for cases exactly like this one. And that appeal is where everything changed. What actually changed today? So here is the big question everyone wants answered. Why is Mudryk suddenly free after facing a 4-year ban just a few months ago? Did new evidence appear? Did someone make a mistake? The real answer is actually about how the rules themselves changed, not about the facts of the case changing. The World Anti-Doping Agency, known as WADA, updates its technical guidelines from time to time. These guidelines set the specific levels and standards used to decide whether a substance found in someone's sample counts as a violation. Earlier this year, WADA made changes to its technical document covering meldonium. Here is the important part. Under the new, updated standards, the concentration of meldonium that was found in Mudryk's original sample would not have been reported as a violation at all. In simple terms, if Mudryk had been tested today under today's rules, he would never have failed the test in the first place. The level found in his body was low, and the new guidelines recognize that such a low level does not prove intentional doping. Now, this change to the rules is not retroactive on its own. That means it does not automatically wipe out every old case just because the standards changed. But it gave Mudryk's legal team a strong new argument for his appeal. Because of this shift, the Football Association, Mudryk and WADA came together and reached an agreement. They resolved the appeal. The FA released a statement confirming that, based on these changes, no anti-doping rule violation would have resulted if his case happened today. As part of the resolution, his time already spent out of football was treated as time served, and the remainder of his ban was lifted. In other words, the science and the standards moved, and Mudryk's case moved with them. This is why we are seeing headlines today, on the 31st of July, confirming that Mudryk is cleared to play again, effective immediately. What did Chelsea say? Chelsea released an official club statement responding to the news, and it is worth going through what they actually said, because it tells you a lot about how the club has handled this whole situation. The club said that from the outset, this had been an extremely difficult period for Mudryk, describing it as difficult both professionally and personally. They said they were pleased that the matter had finally reached a conclusion, one that allows him to return to football with immediate effect. Chelsea also backed up Mudryk's own version of events. They said he had consistently maintained that he never knowingly or intentionally used a prohibited substance, and that he did not know how traces of the substance ended up in his system. The club added that throughout this long and difficult process, he had conducted himself professionally and with resilience, even though it has clearly been one of the most challenging periods of his entire career. Doesn't that tell you something about the character of this young man? Imagine going through almost 2 years of your career being taken away, facing the possibility of a 4-year ban, and still showing up every day to train alone, still staying professional, still believing that one day you would get your chance back. That takes real mental strength. What did Mudryk himself say? Mudryk also posted his own statement on Instagram after the news broke, and you could feel the emotion in every line. He wrote that after a long battle, the 4-year ban placed on him had been rescinded, and that he was now free to resume his career with immediate effect. He also said he was grateful that the process had reached a conclusion, that he had been cleared to return to football, and that he could now finally look ahead to his future. He described this period as the most difficult of his entire career. Can you imagine writing those words after everything he has been through? Think about how many nights he must have spent wondering if he would ever wear the Chelsea shirt again. Think about how many training sessions he did completely alone, with no crowd, no teammates around him, just him and his private coaching staff, trying to stay ready for a day that might never come. That day has finally arrived. Where does he go from here? The Hong Kong plan. Now let us talk about what happens next, because this is the part every Chelsea fan actually cares about. When do we get to see him play? Chelsea are currently out on their pre-season tour, and reports confirm that Mudryk is set to fly out and join up with the squad very soon, most likely once Chelsea reach Hong Kong. Before that, Chelsea have a pre-season friendly against Tottenham this weekend, and Mudryk is expected to link up with the group after that game. Once he joins the squad in Hong Kong, this opens the door for him to be part of the group for their friendly against Juventus, which is being reported as a possible date for him to be available for selection again. Think about that headline. Mudryk versus Juventus in Hong Kong, wearing Chelsea blue again for the first time since November 2024. Are you excited yet? Because we certainly are. Of course, there is a very real question here that every sensible fan should be asking. Is he actually ready to play at this level again? He has not featured in a competitive match for close to 2 years. Football at the top level is brutally demanding, physically and mentally, and simply training alone, even with dedicated coaching staff, is never quite the same as playing real matches against real opposition, week after week. This is exactly why reports suggest Xabi Alonso and his coaching staff will need to closely monitor Mudryk's fitness before rushing him into first-team action. There is even talk that Chelsea could consider a short-term loan move, somewhere he could get regular football and build his match sharpness before fully returning to the intensity of the Premier League. What do you think is the smarter route here? Should Chelsea throw him straight into pre-season matches and build him up that way under Alonso's own eyes? Or would a loan spell somewhere else be the safer path to get him back to full fitness? What does this mean for Xabi Alonso's squad? This is where things get really interesting for us as fans. Xabi Alonso is still building his squad and his identity as Chelsea's head coach. He has already made a big early impression, and he has plenty of attacking talent already at his disposal this season. Chelsea have added serious firepower already this summer. Morgan Rogers arrived in a British record-breaking deal from Aston Villa, and he has already spoken about how excited he is to link up with Cole Palmer again. Jamie Gittins has been showing real quality in pre-season, scoring in behind-closed-doors matches and again against Western Sydney Wanderers. João Pedro has been electric too, with a 9-minute hat-trick in Alonso's very first match in charge, a wild 6-4 win over Western Sydney Wanderers. So where does Mudryk actually fit into all of this? There is genuine competition for places out on the left side of Chelsea's attack now. Rogers can play there, Gittins can play there. Mudryk, when fully fit, offers something different again, that explosive one-on-one pace that very few players in world football can match. This is a great problem for Alonso to have, but it is still a problem he has to solve. Does Mudryk get eased in as an impact substitute at first, coming off the bench to stretch tired defences with his pace? Does he need to fully rebuild his match fitness away from Chelsea before he even competes for a starting shirt? Or does Alonso trust him to compete for a place straight away, given how badly Chelsea have missed his raw speed and unpredictability out wide? One thing is certain. Competition breeds improvement, and every player in that Chelsea attacking group now knows they cannot afford to relax, because there is serious talent pushing for every single shirt. Why this story matters beyond just one player. Football fans sometimes forget that these stories are about real people, not just names on a team sheet or numbers on a shirt. Mudryk is 25 years old. He is Ukrainian, from a country dealing with war and huge hardship back home, and he has carried that weight throughout this entire ordeal as well. Now imagine adding a career-threatening doping case on top of everything else he has had to deal with in recent years. This case also matters for football as a whole, because it shows how important it is for the science behind anti-doping testing to be accurate and fair. Nobody wants cheats in the sport, and strong anti-doping rules protect the integrity of the game we all love. But nobody wants an innocent player to lose years of his career and his reputation because testing standards were not accurate enough at the time. The fact that WADA updated its own guidance and that this update directly affected Mudryk's case shows that the system, even though it moves slowly, can correct itself when it needs to. For Chelsea fans, though, let us be honest, the biggest question is simpler than all of that. Can Mudryk finally deliver on the promise we all saw flashes of when he first arrived at the club? He was brought in as a player who could terrify defenders with his pace and his direct running. Now he gets a fresh chance under a new head coach, with a rebuilt Chelsea squad around him, to show exactly what he can do. What should fans expect now? Let us be realistic with each other here, because that is what real fans do. Nobody should expect Mudryk to step straight back onto the pitch and play like he never left. Football fitness, sharpness and match rhythm take real time to rebuild, especially after such a long period away from competitive action. There will likely be an adjustment period, but there is also every reason for genuine excitement. Mudryk is still only 25. His best years as a footballer should still be ahead of him, not behind him. He has shown throughout this entire process that he has the mental toughness to keep working even when things looked their bleakest. That kind of character often translates into a real hunger once a player finally gets back out onto the pitch. So here is a question for you, the Lana Chelsea analysis community. When Mudryk does step back onto the pitch in a Chelsea shirt, whether that is in a pre-season friendly in Hong Kong or later in the season back at Stamford Bridge, what kind of reception do you think he deserves from the fans? Should he get an instant hero's welcome after everything he has been through, or should fans wait and judge him purely on performances, the same as they would judge any other player? There is no single right answer here. Football fans feel things deeply, and different supporters will feel differently about this. Some will see a wronged player finally getting justice after nearly 2 lost years. Others will simply want to see him prove himself all over again on the pitch before getting carried away. Final thoughts. What a story this has turned out to be. From a huge money signing, to a shock doping charge, to a possible 4-year ban, to a private battle fought almost entirely out of the public eye, and now, finally, to a full return with immediate effect. Few football stories carry this much drama and this much emotion packed into one single career. Mykhailo Mudryk is heading back to Xabi Alonso's Chelsea squad with a huge amount to prove, but also with a real chance to finally show the club and the fans exactly why they were so excited to sign him in the first place. 20 months away is a brutal amount of time to lose from a footballer's career, but sometimes the players who come back from the hardest setbacks are the ones who end up hungriest to succeed. The wait is over. The ban is history. Mudryk is back in blue, and pre-season is about to get a whole lot more exciting. So tell us, Lana Chelsea Analysis family, are you ready to welcome Mudryk back with open arms? Drop your thoughts, your hopes, and your honest predictions in the comments. Do you see him becoming a key player under Xabi Alonso this season, or do you think it will take him time to find his best form again? Either way, one thing feels certain. Stamford Bridge is about to feel his pace again, and that alone is worth getting excited about.